Arguably Toronto's biggest celebrity returns home for one of his last concerts for a while.
We just figured there's no better way to see the boy than in the six.
On the day Drake releases a new album, Toronto's hip-hop king also announces he's taking a break from music. We're live at the Downtown Arena tonight, rebranded in his honor.
For someone to have to give up that pet because they can't afford basic care is excruciating.
Plus, impossible decisions. We're spotlighting the growing trend of people being forced to give up their pets amid Toronto's unaffordability crisis.
Working quickly, it's McMahon in for the Argonaut touchdown.
And winning on a milestone night. Why tonight's 150th anniversary win is so special for Argos fans. Hey there, I'm Chris Glover. As we start the show on this Friday night, we are beginning live at Scotiabank Arena, rebranded tonight for one of Toronto's greatest ambassadors and exports. The one and only Drake is performing there tonight on the final leg of his latest tour after dropping his new album today, and a bit of personal news as well. Tyler Cheese is live at the temporarily rebranded October's very own arena. That renaming for Drake so fitting on so many fronts. Describe the energy there for us, Tyler.
Yeah, Chris, the show is just about to get out, so it's still pretty quiet here in the square, but, you know, there's just always so much excitement when Drake is in Toronto, and when he's here to put on a show, people really show up. But also, he put out that brand new album you mentioned this morning, and so people are pretty hyped about that, too.
Perfect. And the new album that came out today, have you guys listened to it yet?
Yes. That was the first thing I did when I woke up this morning.
I wanted to save it for live, I wanted to save the experience to be live.
Some fans even drove hours just to get last-minute tickets for tonight's show.
So we came from Pennsylvania, so 8-hour drive. We just figured there's no better way to see the boy than in the six.
And others lined up outside the arena as early as last night.
I came at 8 p.m. It was okay. It's like we're all here. We're just having fun and listening to music. He dropped a new album today, so we're listening to that.
The new album, For All the Dogs, just released at 6 a.m. this morning, and mega fans already have thoughts.
I was able to listen to a bunch of the songs. My wife already has a favorite. It's Virginia Beach. She let me know, so she said I have to learn that song immediately.
The things I can't change are the reasons you love me.
TTC driver Jonathan Pooley recently caught the attention of Drake himself with TikTok covers of his songs.
It was great. It was very humbling, to have somebody like Drake, take his time to post my video to 143 million people.
Also ahead of tonight's concert, we had the chance to speak with Eli Brown, a musician from Brampton who produced one of the songs on the new album.
It feels like just going through DVP late at night, back at the Gardiner, and just seeing the CN Tower lit up, just red, blue, and different colors. This track is at least sonically, that's what it feels like.
He says Drake's success is an inspiration to everyone making music in the city.
I think when Drake, even in a project like this, it just reminds people it's possible. You can come into a place where they deny you and you can make it your place and you can shut it down.
Now, as we mentioned, Drake has one more show here in Toronto tomorrow night, and then he's headed to Columbus, Ohio to play his last show of the tour. That's on Monday, and fans are really going to want to savor that new album because he also announced today that he'll be taking a year off to focus on his health.
All right, Tyler, thanks a lot. Tyler Cheese reporting live for us tonight. Just down the street at BMO Field, the Toronto Argonauts hosted the Edmonton Elks for their 150th anniversary game.
Throwing. Intercepted with McManus. This could go for a touchdown. And on one play, this game takes a drastic turn.
And the players delivering on this milestone night. Toronto wins 35-12. It was a day Argos fans won't soon forget. A special tailgate party was held before the game featuring some fan favorite alumni, and our Greg Ross was there for it all.
There are not many people alive who know the Argos history as well as Bill Andrews.
I've been a season ticket holder since 1964.
But that's not where his love affair with this team began.
My first Grey Cup was in 1957. My dad took me and set up in the far corner at the C&E Stadium and fell in love with it then. I tell my good friends if they did stab me, I probably have blue blood.
He says back in those days, Exhibition Stadium was always packed with close to 45,000 fans. And back then, every game was a celebration.
It's just an awful lot of fun. Come down early in the morning, tailgating. It was great. Absolutely loved it. Sometimes I couldn't sleep when I was young.
At 150 years old, the Argos are the oldest sports franchise in North America, a fact not lost on some of the team's former greats.
There's not many teams that got 100 years, but 150 is, that tells you just how significant the history is and how important the Argos is to Toronto.
They've called several stadiums home over the years, including Varsity Stadium, Exhibition Stadium, the Sky Dome, and now BMO Field. They've won 18 Grey Cups in their 150 years. Ricky Ray was a part of 2 of them, in 2012 and 2017.
Man, just winning a championship, regardless, is an awesome feeling. But to know you've done it with an organization that's been around for so long and has such a great history of being in the Grey Cup.
Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Pretty warm still tonight, 16 degrees and clear skies as we look live at the city tonight. Victor Paulo is with us. Victor, let's get right into this Thanksgiving weekend forecast.
Chris, hope you're ready for this long weekend and all that turkey. And one thing to know before we get there is a couple of headlines. The highs over the next couple of days, and we're expecting a wet, long weekend. 11 millimeters of rain fell in the month of September, and we're expecting around 30 millimeters to fall over the next 7 days. Now, that rain is going to be accompanied by some cloudy days as well. And speaking of average temperatures, 16.3 is our average high, 5.5 is our average low. And right around when the show starts, you can see that it will be some clear skies in some areas, and some other regions going to be getting a lot of cloud cover and a lot of rain passing through. Now, that rain is going to be pretty scattered and steady, but the good news is no thunder showers expected till about late night Saturday. Now, Saturday night, you can see that wash its way through and over to Lake Ontario, and once it's out the way, it's back to regular scheduled scattered showers, as you can see. And one thing to note, that blue, yeah, it's snow. Now, here's what your 3-day forecast looks like. It's going to be some precipitation on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And as mentioned, look at those lows slowly decrease. Stay tuned to Chris and I to see what else is in store for your 3- and 7-day forecast.
Well, at least it's not snow. All right. Thanks, Victor. A sad update now on the search for a missing 76-year-old woman with dementia. Toronto police say she has been found dead.
She was found in a wooded area in the vicinity of Bayview and Lawrence, just outside of the area that police were actively searching. This area has a number of trails, and a member of the public found Tulip and called police.
Her cause of death is still unknown, but police say it does not appear to be suspicious. Tulip was last seen on September 30th in the area of Mount Pleasant and Eglinton, and anybody with information is asked to contact police. And in Markham, a 42-year-old woman who was riding an e-bike on a highway ramp has died after she was struck by a pickup truck. Police say it happened on the southbound McCowan Road ramp to Highway 407 at about 7 p.m. The OPP is urging any witnesses to contact them. And over to Etobicoke, a woman in her 20s is in life-threatening condition tonight after she was struck by a car near Browns Line and Jellicoe Avenue. It happened at around 3:45 this afternoon, and the woman was rushed to hospital with critical injuries. The driver of the car remained on the scene. Some good news tonight for dozens of refugees who'd been kicked out of a North York church. We told you last night about how the federal government had plans to move nearly 100 people to more stable housing in Windsor and Niagara Falls. Well, today we saw it happen, but as Dale Manukduk reports, the move doesn't deal with the larger issue.
Get behind your luggage. Today, IRCC moved 92 people to Niagara Falls and Windsor.
You see, I'm excited. I'm very excited about all this.
It's been a long time coming for John Machima and his wife, who arrived on August 11th from Kenya. They were stranded at the airport until Dominion Church came to their rescue.
Gave us an opportunity to have food, shelter, and clothing. This is the place we've been, a place I can say it is our home.
While the move today was one of celebration for some, the larger problem remains.
It's a bit heartbreaking in one sense because, you know, people have come to Canada hoping to build a better life for their families, a new beginning. And, you know, they've been here for months in a place that's bursting at the seams.
Dominion Church has been supporting refugees for nearly 3 months. People have been crammed together in the sanctuary space and eventually spilled out into the banquet hall. On Wednesday, the building landlord, who the church is grateful towards, said he needs the banquet space back, which made the situation to find people housing more urgent. This morning, a TTC bus dropped off about 90 people who had to stay at another church last night. Periodically, IRCC has stepped in to relieve some pressure from the churches. Weeks ago, roughly 60 were taken from Dominion to Cornwall to start the Canadian lives they dreamed of.
Oh boy, they're extremely happy. Some of them actually started working, those who had gotten their work permits. Some of them are getting into school.
We want to take people, not baggage.
There remains about 150 people staying at Dominion Church, which wants all 3 levels of government to find a more permanent solution.
If they can get a space in Cornwall, if they can get a space in Windsor, there must be a space for all these people.
But like Toronto, Windsor is stretched thin.
We actually just opened up a second facility with 11 bedrooms, but that facility filled up within 3 weeks. So between the 2 facilities here in Windsor, we are providing safe and welcoming shelter for 122 men, women, and children.
Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
We're getting an update from Unifor this evening on talks with General Motors just days before the negotiation deadline.
We are getting resistance from General Motors with respect to a number of important elements of the comprehensive pattern agreement established with Ford Motor Company. No one here expected getting this pattern with GM would be easy.
The union says major issues of contention include GM's full-time temporary workers classification, the universal health allowance for retirees, and future product investment commitments. The deadline to get a tentative agreement with General Motors is Monday at 11:59 p.m. Unifor's president says the union intends to bargain right through the Thanksgiving weekend to try to reach a deal. Now to a troubling trend amid Toronto's unaffordability crisis. The Humane Society is warning more and more people are surrendering their family pet as bills mount and the cost of caring for their animal becomes overwhelming. Ali Chiasson has more on the difficult decisions being made.
Hi, gorgeous. Hello. So Nina was surrendered to us due to the rising cost of pet care. She did come in with some medical conditions. She had some skin conditions going on, some lumps and bumps that needed to be evaluated. And, you know, her pet family at the time just was unable to afford that care.
Nina's story is becoming common. Pet parents not able to afford veterinary bills. Some put off vaccinations or getting them fixed, which can result in even more expensive complications in the long run. And eventually, the pet is surrendered.
For someone to have to give up that pet because they can't afford basic care is excruciating.
More and more people are going to them for discounted vet care.
Last year, between January 1st to September 30th, we provided $615,000 worth of below market veterinary rate services, and this year, the same time frame, January 1st to September 30th, we are at $1.3 million.
There's the pet food bank that people will line up down the street for, and the urgent care program, where the Humane Society will look after pets for periods of time if someone gets evicted or loses their home.
We have 125 families that have accessed the program this year alone. We continue to see numbers every single day increase and increase, and it really is falling outside of our ability to keep up with demand.
It says something that the Humane Society has a social worker on staff.
So can you give me a sense of what you're seeing these days? It's tough times for a lot of people.
The city really is in crisis. Every day, Toronto Humane Society staff are hearing the heart-wrenching stories of families that are having to make excruciating decisions, whether this is foregoing groceries for themselves or providing pet care for their animals.
In times of need is when we need their companionship the most.
That animals really do create improved health outcomes for all of us. It's particularly important that they be able to maintain those relationships with their family members, whether they're two-legged or four-legged. We really need your support, and we invite our viewers to go to torontoincrisis.com. Please consider donating so that we can continue to provide the services and supports as a community to our pet families.
And provide good outcomes for more more furry friends like Nina.
So she is going to have her surgery today. She will be spayed, and her medical conditions have improved. So hopefully she will be going home very shortly.
Oh my goodness, a big day for Nina.
Yes.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News.
Welcome back. A city contractor jackhammered into a Toronto couple's basement, leaving a large hole in their home and forcing their business to shut down. At first, the couple was told they would be on the hook for repairs, but the city now appears to be changing its tune. Farah Morelli takes us through the ordeal.
So the city showed up to do work on the sidewalk, didn't tell us anything about it in spite of us trying to reach out to them to find out more. And now, this is what I have to deal with.
All that debris from this large hole, now in the ceiling of David Stone's basement. The aftermath of a sidewalk repair gone terribly wrong. Stone runs a music school on the ground floor of the building and lives upstairs with his family.
It's disappointing, it's angering, it's frustrating, and it's almost unbelievable.
The whole series of events caught on the couple's security camera. On Monday, a truck is seen arriving to start fixing the sidewalk out front of their building. It later starts jackhammering, getting closer and closer to the doorstep of the building before the worker realizes he's dug into a basement.
I don't know what you want to do here. You got an inspector to get the over here now.
He later rings the doorbell to alert David's wife, Erin.
You be working over here? Oh my God! You got a hole here?
Well, we've seen a lot of claims like this over the last, say, 10 to 15 years.
This lawyer says he's seeing more and more cases of city contractors causing damage to private property, but ultimately, the city is on the hook for these repairs, not the homeowners.
And the damage they cause in negligence through mistakes is something that they're liable for.
After CBC contacted the city, it did dispatch its own engineer, but no one would speak to us for an interview, saying only in a statement, these kinds of unexpected situations can be challenging, which is why the city is working with the property owner to address this unfortunate and unusual situation.
I feel very abandoned by the city.
Meanwhile, the city has cordoned off the entrance to the building.
Times are hard enough for everybody as it is, especially for a small independent business.
Stone has contacted his own insurance company. He says a broker told him the city's insurance needs to step in, but to touch base next week. Farah Morelli, CBC News, Toronto.
Late this afternoon, a very substantial update. After Farah's story first was public, the city told us that they have started temporary repairs on the home today and that permanent repairs will begin next week at the city's expense. A live look at Windsor on this Friday night, sitting at around 11 degrees and cloudy skies. Victor Paulo is back with a look at your extended forecast. Victor, a much more seasonal weekend coming our way.
Chris, as mentioned, if you look at the map of North America here, you will see the cooling down as winter is on the way and we're in the midst of fall. As you can see, a lot of the areas which were looking like this last week with the red and orange all through here are now green, which shows a cooling down. It's great to see Yellowknife at 0 degrees as it was in mid-20s, high 20s and low 20s for a majority of the September and August. And also you see Regina at 5 degrees because don't forget last week Regina was in double digits as well. Now you can see the cooling down, but over here in Southeast Ontario, we are still just getting rid of a bit of that warm weather, but warm weather is going to be all said and done by the time this long weekend's over. Now, when it comes to the late night, or in time the show is done, it's going to be 11 degrees, feeling like 9. And I'm taking a look at how much rain we're going to be expecting here. Well, it's going to be quite not that much currently when it comes to between now and Sunday, only 4 millimeters. But between now and when it comes to Thursday, Friday, we're expecting 30 millimeters to fall in total. You can see London's going to be getting pretty wet, as well as some other regions as well over here in the southeastern area of Ontario. Now, here's what it looks like when it comes to the rain that we're expecting to fall. Now, that rain is going to be of the scattered variety, but one thing you can also note when it comes to the rain is it's going to be quite significant cloud cover. That significant cloud cover is going to be here consistent over the next couple of days, all the way through to about Friday. We're expecting it to be a mix of heavy cloud cover and scattered showers. No real big, heavy systems working its way through, which is the good news. But the other thing to note is when it comes to 3 and 7 day forecast, we're expecting some more rain. Rain is going to be the big factor. It's going to be here over the next couple of days, and mixed in with that rain is going to be the cooling down of the temperatures. As you can see, 15 on Saturday, 12 on Sunday, 10 on Monday, and your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Don't forget, 16 degrees is your average high this time of year. So if you do look here, we almost have 7 days of below seasonal temperatures. And the overnight lows are quite seasonal, but one thing to note is all that rain is not going to bring any warm weather. So hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the rain, and over to you, Chris.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving. Finally tonight, an 11-year-old motorcyclist is on the trip of a lifetime, heading to Spain to represent Canada on the world stage. We caught up with him to hear more about how Ontario's motorcycle community came together to make it happen.
Hi, my name is Michael Galvez. I'm 11 years old. I'm from Colombia. I do like motorcycle race. My favorite part is racing bikes.
The owner of Supersonic Road Race School. I started a road race series called Mini SBK Championship Series. And then I also got the approval from FIM to run the FIM Mini GP Canada Series, which is connected to the World Series. Michael is our champion. He won the championship this year, and the runner-up is Ben Hardwick. So the 1 and 2 spots go to Spain to race against the world. As far as the revenue to try to get to Spain, the riders just don't have it to do this kind of expense. The other problem is that motorcycle racers aren't recognized as athletes in the eyes of the federal government. So we're not eligible for any of the government grants for sporting events. So our community, our motorcycle community, they all came together when I put together a GoFundMe. They all came forward to help. So we're able to buy the airplane tickets for Michael and his father to go to Spain.
La gente ha colaborado demasiado. Los patrocinadores de Tony han ayudado bastante y eso mi hijo está muy feliz por eso y ojalá que en un futuro el Ministerio de Deporte de Canadá nos tengan en cuenta para un futuro, que esto es un gran deporte.
All right, good luck, Michael. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great long weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.